Now, I have not played Portal, but as you can see from my Minecraft here, I have a portal gun. Okay? And when I go through one portal, I can come out of the other portal. It's actually pretty handy. I use it quite often. So, considering that I literally have never played Portal before, but I do have the Minecraft portal gun experience, I think we can still do this, alright? Now, the idea behind this is that you have a platform, a stationary, solid platform, presumably solid platform. I'm assuming it's solid for the sake of this thought experiment. It is hard bolted to the fucking floor. This thing would not move if you fucking shot it with a 50 cal, okay? You could shoot this with a very powerful gun, and the platform wouldn't even shake. It is a solid platform, okay? And on another equally solid platform, with a hydraulic press bringing down a ceiling onto it, there is an orange portal. And it's coming down at high speeds towards this not nailed down, simply sitting there companion cube. All right? Basically, what's going to happen is the companion cube, were the portal not there, would be sandwiched very hard and quickly between these two platforms, right? But there is a portal here, which will, of course, save the companion cube. It will not be crushed by this top platform zooming down onto the bottom platform, right? Now, here's where things get complicated. What would happen to the companion cube once the platform has slammed into the bottom one, right? Now, it is easy to say, at first glance, the cube isn't moving. The portal is just kind of enveloping itself around the cube, and the cube isn't moving. There's no, like, motion being imparted onto the cube by the platform moving around it and it appearing into a new space. So a lot of people might want to pick A because of that. That it would just plop right out. Here's the thing, though. I'm on B gang, okay? And here's why. The way that I imagine it is, think of, like, having a hula hoop and a foam cube on a table. If you slam that hula hoop over the cube onto the table, that cube is going to bounce up into the air for a few seconds out of that circle, right? Now, while this isn't a perfect analogy because portals are atom thick, like literally an atom thick, and they're literally like portals to different places in space, it's not the perfect analogy, but effectively, the physics should work the same, from my understanding. This platform coming down onto the bottom platform should impart this momentum onto the only thing not nailed down, the only thing the kinetic energy can go from being potential to actively kinetic in, active energy, and that would be the companion cube. When you slam your fist on the table, everything on the table that isn't nailed down jumps up into the air, because all the kinetic energy from that is being imparted onto the object, right? So my understanding is that the platform would impart kinetic energy onto the cube and cause it to at least jolt through the blue portal, right? Is this not how it would work? If a portal is coming at you in motion, it's going to impart its momentum to you as you go through it. Is this how it happens in the game? Because in the game, someone told me you cannot place portals on moving objects because even the game couldn't figure out like how this would work. It works that way in the game? How much does a cube weigh? I think it's pretty irrelevant. Like, let's assume the cube weighs enough that like this platform slamming down on it would impart enough force for it to bounce. Okay, chat. Are we not of agreement that this platform slamming down to the bottom would cause momentum to impart itself onto the cube and cause it to bounce? Do we not agree on that? Because my understanding is the fact the portal is enveloping itself around the cube does nothing. Like, the portal itself has no impact on the motion of the cube. When you walk through a portal in Portal, your speed isn't changing. You're not like, you're going through the portal as if it's just a magic. It is literally magic. It is magic, okay? That is what it is. It is a magic point that allows you to travel to another space, right? But the way they're displayed to work in Portal would lead me to believe that if I kicked you, if I punched you in the face, you would go falling back through a portal and still have the same momentum from falling backwards from the punch when you came out the other side. In that same way, whatever momentum is imparted by this platform jolting into the platform the companion cube is on is going straight into whatever the fuck isn't nailed down, which is this companion cube, which is sending that fucker, at least to a degree, flying. And not only that, but it's probably going to have even more flight to it, like it's displayed to have here, because the exit portal is at an angle, which means whatever velocity is imparted onto this cube from that kinetic energy is going to have less gravitational pull on it, because it's making an arcing motion outward instead of a straight up. Like, it's not fighting gravity as much. Most of its motion is just going outwards, sideways, not fighting against gravity, trying to fight upwards. So it'd absolutely come out sideways like this. Every law of physics should agree with this, right? Like, every law of physics dictates that B is the correct answer, from my understanding, right? Simplify it. What if the platform did not bounce? If the platform, then you're breaking, like, that's not possible. That's not the platform bouncing. We're assuming this platform is solid. Like, we're assuming you could shoot this platform and it wouldn't budge, right? The thing is, just because you impart energy onto something that is immovable doesn't mean the energy becomes negated. If you put a soda can on a car, on top of your car, and you punch the cars like the side of your car's not going to move much, but you better believe what's on the car, that little can of soda is going to jostle. It's gonna your car has suspension. Okay, bad example. Punch something heavy like your fridge. The things in your fridge are going to shake because the motion is traveling from a solid object into something that is loosely like sitting onto the surface. So it's going to move. Whatever can move, that energy is going to make it move. The energy's not going anywhere. It's moving through the object. This is going to slam into this platform, and that kinetic energy is going to go into the closest thing that isn't nailed down, that can move, that can actually turn potential energy into kinetic energy, the cube. What if you punch the ground? It depends on how much force. We're talking about something a lot bigger than this platform, because the Earth is a lot, like, bigger. But, like, depending, yeah. If you have a dinosaur, for example, like, or an elephant, I don't know, like an elephant walking around, you can literally see your glass of water vibrate from the elephant coming because sound waves are actively traveling through, or not even sound, vibrations. Like that's energy. Like in this case, those sound waves, that's vibrations, that's energy, is traveling through the ground, the solid ground, and causing motion in the water because the water in your cup is not nailed down. It is much more subject to forces acting on it and making it be manipulated than like the Earth is. So in this case, assuming this platform is super, as a metal science platform in Portal would be, like, I'm imagining what I've seen Portal gameplay. I know what these platforms would look like, right? They're solid fucking steel platforms in a giant fucking aperture lab. So this platform wouldn't budge. All that energy would go into the cube, and that imparted energy would give it a nice little whoosh out of the blue portal. Apparently there's a video about this, Minute Physics, about the portal thing. Okay, let's see if Minute Physics disagrees. I hope he doesn't. I feel like I'm correct here.
The video game Portal is built around a sci-fi device that can create a portal connecting one place on the wall or ceiling or floor to another, and objects in the game, or the player themselves, can pass essentially instantaneously from one end of the portal to the other. In particular, an object entering one end of the portal with a certain speed leaves the other end with the same speed, though if the portals aren't oriented in the same direction, then the object will exit in the new direction, but the speed will be the same. And this leads to an apparent paradox. What happens if one of the ends of the portal is itself moving? Does a stationary object plop out the other end of the portal with zero speed, since it had no speed before entering? Or
the obvious, so we know that the portals, traveling through the portal itself has no effect on your speed. So for example, let's say you have a portal on your wall, like on your, vertical wall, right? That you could just walk into. and then you have a portal on your floor. If you jump into the portal on the wall, or let's actually give a better example. Put two portals next to each other on the floor. If you jump off your bed into one portal, you are going to fly up out of the other portal with the exact amount of inertia from gravity you had falling in. And then immediately you'll reach an arc where gravity starts to affect you because the inertia you had from the falling gravity that you had passing through the portal now goes away because now you're fighting against gravity as you come out of it. You'll come straight up, fall right back through, come back out, and the same thing will repeat over and over again because the only energy that you have when you go through a portal is the energy that you had going through the portal, whether it be caused by gravity because you fell through the portal or by your own calories burning because you walked or jumped or slid through the portal. The portal itself does not impart anything to you. It is literally a hole. It is a hole of magic that just has no physical ability to interact with it as far as it just doesn't do anything to you. You just walk through it.
Or if the orange portal moves quickly downwards, does the cube shoot out of the blue portal with the corresponding relative speed? It's easy to argue in favor of either case, which
the reason why it moves isn't because the portal is moving, it's because the laws of physics dictate that the platform itself would cause inertia to act upon the cube and make it go flying out. You could make, if you wanted to make it so that the portal itself wasn't on a platform and it was just a portal that exists in thin air that just envelops itself around the cube, then it would be A. Then it would be A if it was just a portal, floating down over the cube around air, and it was not going to have any impact on this platform in terms of momentum. In that case, it would just do A, I would presume. But in this case, yeah, no, it would just it would go flying, at least a little bit. I watched Stargate. I beg of you. I've seen it when I was a very young kid. The properties of the surface behind the portal are irrelevant. Well, it's not. It's not if you have a platform going very quickly and then suddenly stopping because it's hitting a hard surface and there's something on that hard surface that now has one path to follow to move.
Which I suspect
inertia is a property of matter? Yeah, my bad.
Is why this puzzle is so popular on the internet. Of course, as far as we know, such portals don't exist. But supposing they did and obeyed the laws of physics, then the question really boils down to this. If objects have to enter and exit the portals with the same speed, then what's that speed being measured relative to? Because in our universe, there's no absolute reference frame from which to measure speeds and velocities on their own.
That is true.
Velocities can only be determined relative to another object. So here are a few
in this case, relative to the Earth, in the Aperture Labs, where we're doing portal science.
Options. Perhaps when passing through a portal, the object maintains the same speed relative to the environment.
It's relative to the environment. It's the same as tossing a ball around in a car or jumping on a bus. If you've ever jumped on a bus before, when you're a kid, maybe you were on the bus and the bus was moving and you thought, if I jump, surely the time that I'm in the air, the bus should move out from under me, right? Because I can't jump as fast as the bus is going, right? The bus is going 60 miles an hour right now. That's what the sign says. So, if I jump right now, the bus should move out from under me at 60 miles an hour, right? But no, the bus imparts its momentum onto you when you jump, and so you fly in the air at the same speed as the bus. Zan, if it's relative to the environment, it's A, no ban, please. Well, you did not substantiate that at all, so I don't know why you said that, but we're talking about relative to the environment in regards to, okay, what he's talking about right now is the fact that us on Earth right now, in the universe, are traveling absurdly fast. We are traveling ridiculously fast right now. The thing is, we don't really consider ourselves to be moving quickly. As a matter of fact, when you're standing still on Earth, even though if you consider the reference frame of the entire universe, you're moving absurdly fucking fast, at least for a human scale. On Earth, due to the fact that we are very small, we are affected by gravity, the Earth is very big, we have a reference frame of just the Earth. When you're staying still, we consider that moving at 0 miles an hour, despite the fact the Earth literally rotates once a day, and that's fairly quick. You know, you're moving pretty quickly if you were to just sort of like imagine the Earth as a completely still ball in space spinning. That's pretty quick that you on that one point would be moving along that space. Oh my god, Zan, I'm going to leave and watch the video on my own, I swear. I'm going to ban you. Never come back to my community.
Relative to the environment. This one's option A. Or perhaps objects maintain the same speed relative to the average position of the portals themselves, except that's mathematically the same as measuring relative to the environment, as long as the portals aren't accelerating. So, option A. Or perhaps the speed an object has relative to the portal it enters is the same as the speed it has relative to the portal it exits. This one is option B. Or perhaps objects enter and exit at a constant speed relative to the end of the portal they're not using at the moment. It's a valid possibility, although it's kind of weird. The thing is, all of these options are consistent with what you see in the video game, because in the game the portals pretty much never move relative to the environment. My personal opinion is that the most physically natural option is B, where the velocity is locally measured relative to the individual ends of the portals, and so the cube shoots out of the blue portal. This would be roughly what you'd
Okay, so we're arguing about a completely different concept then. We're arguing about whether or not the cube moving from its reference frame is imparting motion onto it when it comes to the blue portal, not whether or not in that specific scenario the way the experiment is set up would have a certain result. That's the only important thing? Well, god damn it. I thought we were arguing about what the outcome of that experiment would be. And the answer to that is B. But as far as we can tell, the portals themselves don't impart motion on you. You have to have motion already going through you. So, like, narrowing down, making the depiction of the experiment less problematic, because there are factors that would cause it to be answer B. The portal does not transfer any momentum onto things. Wrong, the portal is moving, so it imparts motion. But it doesn't, though. Like, portals... We've never seen portals move in the game, right? Like, you can't shoot a portal at a moving platform in Portal, right? But, like, as far as we can tell, when you jump through a portal, like, you're literally only affected by the momentum you had going through it. Moving through the portal in another area doesn't affect you. Like, for example, like, from the perspective of the portal, the cube is the one that is moving. Hold on, let's test this. Hold on, fuck it. You know what? We literally can... Fuck it. Where are we testing this shit? Let's do it here. This works. Okay. What do I want to demonstrate first? Okay, if I put this portal here, and I put this portal here, alright? When I walk through this portal, I will literally fall out of this one, okay? Because gravity immediately imparts itself the second my foot steps through the portal, gravity starts weighing on it. Forces that are inherent to the setting that we are doing this experiment in, where we use portals and whatnot, are immediately acting on you the second any part of your body goes through the portal, okay? Now, if I take that portal, and is this the blue one? Yeah, and I take the blue one now, and I walk through this portal sideways with my current motion... Okay, dog. It results in me bouncing out of it, immediately being acted on by gravity. Now, to be fair, this is Minecraft, so the level of gravity effect on the player is different, so I'm sure in Portal you'd probably bounce a little higher. Maybe in real life you'd probably bounce a little higher. But the momentum I have on me right now is coming from gravity. And then when I do it here, if I place a portal here, the momentum I have here is coming from my energy pushing me through. The portals themselves don't really seem to impart anything onto you. Like, especially... Oh, here. All right, well, I give up the fucking thought experiment. Like, the portals don't really, like, do anything to you. They're just there. They're holes. They're literally just holes in space and time, or just space, I guess. Holes in space that you step through.
Expect if the portals were wormholes bending spacetime, because the objects then would obey conservation of momentum in a curved spacetime, or if the portals were more of a teleportation device that scans the matter coming in one end and reconstructs it, kind of like a 3D printer.
Okay, now we're getting too autistic to even engage.
At the other end. So I think B is more natural. It's also tempting to think that there's simply no way it could be option A, the one where objects keep their same speed relative to the environment, because how could a stationary object exit a stationary portal while remaining stationary?
Well, it can plop out because the portal consumes the block, so it would just come out. Like, like in that scenario, if we're assuming that the portal itself is coming down and we're not considering the platform, I like this demonstration better because there's no platform. In this scenario, it would just plop out because it's literally, literally once the block was like halfway consumed, gravity would pull the block out and it would plop over. Like, this would come down over it, and the second half of it or more was consumed, it would just plop out the other side because gravity would start affecting. Because you have to understand, as this portal comes down, the side of the cube is coming out, and now gravity's going to start pulling the cube out of the portal straight down to the ground. Yeah, you would see the cube moving towards the blue side, but it would just kind of plop right through the second the portal stopped consuming the cube.
Object would have to move, right? However, there is a way for option A to work, precisely because the cube doesn't enter the orange portal all at once. It goes in bit by bit. And if those bits
Well, it goes in bit by bit, but the second more than half goes through, the weight weighing on the other side of the cube is going to cause gravity to just plump it down into the ground.
come out of the blue portal not moving, then they all appear exactly in the plane of the portal, stationary, and they would keep on piling up against each other, squishing the cube into a flat square, which is not moving. Or, if the cube were rigid and couldn't be squished, then it simply couldn't enter the orange portal in the first place. The blue end of the portal would act like a wall, and the orange portal would bounce off of it. And I suspect option A is actually how the portals are programmed in the video game itself, both because measuring speeds relative to the global environment, as opposed to relative to a particular object, is typically the easiest thing to program, and because people...
Yeah, it is really hard to simulate a universe where where a planet is moving through that universe itself is also cosmically inflating, and that planet is rotating, orbiting things, and there are people and then in all of that, that's where your environment is, but it's none of that's relevant. You're using a reference frame of just yeah. Well, the game's physics are abstractions, just like with Minecraft, where the gravity that we saw affected in Minecraft with the portals is not like how it would be in real life or in Portal.
People who've done experiments within the game engine to try to see what happens have discovered that the game glitches and doesn't let solid objects pass through a portal moving towards them.
So the answer is it's not possible. Huh.
Which is perhaps an unsatisfying answer to the paradox, and not how you think the portals should work. But that's okay, we don't have to agree with the game designers. To me, the moral is that the portal paradox is not a paradox. The answer depends on how the portals themselves actually work, which, since they're fictional, is up to you to decide. What you think should happen says more about you, and whether you think more like a programmer or more like a physicist. And so, I leave you with a final portal puzzle to ponder. What if instead of moving down towards the cube, the orange portal is moving sideways on the ground and you drop the cube through it? Does the cube shoot straight up through the blue portal? Does it bounce off of the orange portal? Or does it shoot out of the blue?
It shoots up straight up, unless it gets hit on the edges, and then it'll, the second an edge of the portal hits it, which is essentially the same as the platform that the... No. What's happening? Whoa. I forgot I wasn't paused. Holy... Okay. Whew, that was bad. That could have been really bad. Jesus Christ.
Portal at an angle. This Minute Physics video was supported by Curiosity.
Interesting. Well, that was our daily dose of autism.